Hey, what's up guys, my name is Severman. Been a while since the latest video, but today I will walk you through the project file of my latest song called Legacy. Let's get straight into FL Studio. I guess most of you guys have heard the song. If not, make sure to check out the full version. Link in the description to all streaming services and also free download. But let me walk you through the project file. I will start with the lead synths. So I started this track in December and I came up here in the studio with this idea here randomly, just that melody. Yeah, randomly just popping up in my head. And then I started layering some synths here, and the main layers are from Serum. I got 3 Serum leads here. I think they're from the Sticks pack. The 3 main layers sound like that. And then I added a couple of spiral layers here as well, and I had to consolidate those, so I bounced them out as audio, because the pitch automation here in my spiral doesn't really work. When I try to automate it, it starts acting like crazy, goes up and down really weird, and so I had to bounce those out. And so those are those right here, the consolidated ones. And yeah, I added the pitch automation to all of them. So the spiral ones sound like that. It's a mono lead. And then here at the bottom we have a transient layer, called it the transient layer, because this one, check it out, sounds like that. It's very short and snappy. And how I did that, I think I did in Synth 1. It's just an init saw with a white noise layered, and I brought down the decay a lot, sustain is down all the way, so it becomes very short, very plucky, just a little bit of release. If you're thinking, okay, what's the purpose of this sound? Do you even hear it in the mix? You definitely hear it in the mix, and the purpose of the sound is to make the whole lead bus more punchy. This is something that I really wanted here. I wanted to have really punchy transients in the track in order to have the leads really in your face, because sometimes when you're mixing your sounds, you feel like a sound needs to be louder, and then you bring it up, but it just muddies up the mix, and sometimes what you're lacking is punch, sharp transients. So give this a go. Try to create a layer like this, a very short, plucky one, and then mix it into your other lead layers in order to get a more punchy sound. So yeah, that's what I started the track with. That's the lead layers, and the whole track I wanted to keep it quite dark, mysterious. It's also why I use it as an intro track, because I feel like it works really, really nice as an intro, because it just has this mysterious intro vibe. I don't know if that makes sense. In the break, it's funny, I used a lot of Splice samples, because back at that time I was resubscribing to my Splice subscription, and I was going through random samples, and I found a lot of these really mysterious samples, which I thought were really cool. Let me show you those. So for example, we have here like some drone ambience samples. Just check them out. We'll go through them one by one. That's just some vocal ambience, some more texture, voice texture here. Then I added some whispered voices in the background with a lot of reverb. All these sounds help to create this very mysterious atmospheric vibe here in the break. And then we got this choir loop. This one's definitely more prominent than the previous ones. Again, also from Splice, I think. Some impact sounds. A piano loop. I just love that vibe. It sounds so cool in my opinion. Then I also added this synth ARP thing, whatever. And And then there also is this type of stab sound here, one shot. Yeah, man, that sounds so cool. All together. I guess it's all samples, and then the only synth here, only actual synth in the break at the beginning is the bass. So for the bass, I used a Serum Reese, also from the Sticks pack. This one. Yeah, it sounds very, very fat, very dark as well. I like that one. And what I did here with the bass at the beginning, I'm keeping on one note. So what's it playing? I think it's a C sharp. Yes, C sharp. And that also helps create this mysterious vibe, because in most progressive tracks you will just find a normal chord progression. The bass is playing normal, your typical four note progression. And then once the melody comes in, the leads, what I'm doing is I'm still playing the C sharp for, 4 bars? But then I'm going up to F sharp, 2 bars, and then 1 bar E and D sharp each. And then in the drop, I'm changing the bass line up again. So for example, if you have a look here at the notes, we have a C sharp for 2 bars, and then A, F sharp, 1 bar each. And then in order to make that transition, when the leads come in a bit smoother, I added this reverse. Like I took the first note of the leads with a lot of reverb, reversed it, and then added it before the first lead hit. Like that. And then as the leads come in, I'm also adding some claps sounds, I think. Or I'm actually adding the claps in the build up here. Where are they? Yeah, here. A ride as well, and like another voice ambient sound. And speaking of the build up, let me show you the other build up sounds. So I added the drop kick. It's being pitched up here, as you can tell, the pitch automation. And some endless smile automation as well. And then we have some snares. Here I also really wanted to have a very upfront snare, like really straight into your face. And then there's a support snare here as well. And another one down here. Just adding more rhythm. And then we obviously got all the uplifter sounds. For those uplifters, I like to use Vengeance. They're all from the Vengeance EDM pack. Yeah, they just have to create so much tension in the build-up. And then what's left here in the break or build-up is the vocal. So the vocal is from Splice as well. And here I did something which I also showed on my Instagram. I did a reel where I showed how you can pitch or time stretch a vocal without making it sound too artificial. Because I can show you, alright, let me show you the original Splice sample that I used for this. The original Splice sample is in a completely different key. It's way higher. I think it was 5, 6, 7 semitones higher than my track. And it was also a very, a much slower BPM. And the combination of that is very bad, because when you have to speed up a sample, ideally you would also want to pitch up the sample. It's like when you're having like a vinyl player or something, you pitch it up. You also, as you speed up a track, you're also pitching it up. But speeding up a sample and pitching it down is not very, very good for the quality. Yeah, this is the original sample. As you can tell, it's way higher than mine. So I tried pitching it down, stretching it, and it sounded absolutely terrible. And I was like, man, I really like this vocal, but it sounds like crap when I pitch it. So how I did was I used Audemy. I sent the original vocal through an AI model pitch down the AI model and time stretch that in order to get a way more natural sounding result. And then I added a couple of other layers here. This one. This one's the main layer. So this is the main vocal lead layer. This one was a stereo layer. I think I have the stereo spreader on here just to give the vocal more width. And then there's also this drone layer, just singing one note. And then I also added this harmony layer here. And then here the processing was a little bit tricky because there was a lot of EQing I had to do. Just a little bit of compression here, but a lot of EQing here, OTT, and I also added a lot of reverb. Yeah, here more EQing, some delay. And then I created a lot of like send channels here. It's like, I don't even remember what I did here. There's a lot of routing that I did. More like, check this out. This is like a bunch of EQing, just a bunch of EQs here, multi-band compression, dynamic EQing, just to make them sit right in the mix. And then here, this is the bus channel where all the lead layers go into. More reverb, more EQing, some OTT, more EQing. So really EQing is the game changer here when it comes to making your vocals sit right in the mix. And so break build up pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Let's have a listen to the drop. So the leads I've already shown you guys. Let me show you the bass line, how that. So the bass line here was very tricky as well because of the key of the song. The track is in a very tricky key for an EDM track. As I've already shown you, the root note here is C#. And C# is very difficult for the drop bass because it's either sitting very high or very low. So making the bass sound right was a bit difficult. So what I did here, I'm using a saw wave on a -2 octave. No effects, no filter, no modulation. The effects are obviously on the mixer channel, but no effects within the plugin itself. So here, first of all, we have a low and high cut. Then a sausage fattener just to boost the volume a little. And then I added our bass. I really love our bass because this one can really fatten up your bass and bring out like certain harmonics in your bass. And then here, some weird EQing, boosting 150, but at the same time reducing 170. And then here we have some dynamic EQing, but what I did here was I have the ratio set to 0.5 to 1. So what that means is it's not reducing the sound as it's hitting the threshold, it's bringing up the sound or the certain frequency as it hits the threshold. Usually you would want to use dynamic EQing to reduce a certain frequency, but here I use it to boost that certain frequency. Yeah, as you can see, it's like 140. It's boosting the 140. And then here also boosting the 140 because I felt like I need that more of that upper harmonics. And then this one here was important. What I did here was I lowered the 105. That, as you can see here, when we take a look at span, maybe you can see it better. I lowered the 105, which is this harmonic frequency. You can see it here, this one. And now here's the thing, the lower you go, the more harmonics you want to have in your bass, because that will make it more audible and appear fatter. But at the same time, also the lower you go, the lower the harmonics will become. But the more harmonics you have at a lower frequency, the muddier the mix will get. So it was a very difficult situation here. Long story short, what I did here, I just brought down that 105 harmonic while still kind of, boosting those upper 140 harmonics in order to get nice fat sub here. Yeah, and then this is just some sidechain gross beat. Yeah. Oh, as you can see as well, what I did was I boosted the C sharp and then lowered those other notes here in order to level them out more. So that's the sub bass. Let's have a listen to the mid bass. Also, I was struggling here with the mid bass because at first I didn't know what rhythm I should use for the bass, and that's the rhythm that I ended up with. I also tried some like gated bass line, like 1/16 notes. I also tried some sort of side trance bass, but it didn't work. So that's what I ended up with. I think what I ended up with sounds pretty good. So the main layer here is a Severman synth. Added quite a lot of effects on here. Some blood overdrive for distortion, and then here EQing just to make it sit right in the mix. This one's very dirty in the layer, that one with 3 other sounds. This one is a mono layer. This one a Cashmere preset. This is stereo. And then this one is sitting on a higher octave. On the bass channel, a lot of EQing, as you can see, OTT, EQing, transpire, just to make them a bit more punchy as well. That's pretty much it. Sidechain here, kickstart, Nicky Romero. So together with the sub, sounds like that. Also notice that the pitch glides. Let me show that together with the kick. Yeah, super sick. So for the kick, I used the separate bass kick. This one's actually the Hartwell Echo kick, as you can tell here. Yeah, it's just got a low pass filter on or something. Yeah, low pass. And then I added a separate top kick. It's very short, so it doesn't have any bass really. So that's the kick drum. And then let me show you the drop chords. So the chords here, in this track, I didn't want the chords to be very upfront. This track was more about like just the melody and the bass. I wanted to keep it more dirty and not as like emotional as my other songs. The synths, or the chord synth, like it's just one synth, this one. With some simple EQing and sidechain. This is literally all for the chords. Then I added this one. Like a weird Nexus square lead, playing this one note, and I added some pancake on here to make it like float around your head. Some sidechain here, some EQing, boosting the highs. And then we got some more ambience. the month's vocal ambience, but I use it more in the background. It's not too obvious in the mix, just adds a little bit more like harmony. Just some more here, some more of these. So then let's have a listen to the rest of the drums. So we got a ride here. Another one, a lot of claps, crashes. Let me just show you everything, and let me just shut up. Yeah, so these are all hitting on with the kick together, creating a lot of energy here for the drop. Then the second half of the drop, I have this tom, which is from Vengeance as well. And I'll also add a little bit of like stereo effect on here to make it more interesting and to also separate it from the kick and bass, because was muddying up the mix quite a lot, so I figured actually adding some width to it helps make it sound better in the mix. Then in the second half of the job, I also added the break, choir, and the piano loop. And then we have some more fill sounds and crashes down here. Yeah, this sound here, it sounds quite weird when you hear it like that, but it sounds quite cool in the mix. It's also just like some Vengeance short effect sound with some pink stereo delay on here, some EQing. Yeah, it's just some ear candy. So those are all the drop elements. I think the second drop has the same elements, no new elements added there, I believe. And well, except for one here, this one Hoover synth or whatever you call it, just a super saw. Yeah, just playing one note and just automated the pitch of it, and I also used it as a riser in the second build up. So those are all the drop elements. One more thing I wanted to show you guys was what I did here. And this is something I really liked, was the way getting out of the drop is I'm making the kick follow the rhythm of my melody. Not only the kick, but also the clap and the ride here. And making this work was a bit difficult at first too, because of the kick taking up more space here, so it was difficult making it work with the bass here together. And how I made it work was, well, first of all, I'm just fading out the volume here of the bass kick, and I'm pitching up the bass kick here at the same time, so we're shifting up the lower frequency, so it's not clashing as much with the sub bass as if I just kept it without the automation. And the cool thing also here, having the bass and top kick split, is that I can change the pitch of the bass kick without messing up the top kick. Because that's something, if you just use a regular kick sample and you change the pitch, you're gonna mess up the top kick, and this way it sounds cleaner. Check it out again. You know, the top kick stays clean, which is super cool. I'm fading out the top kick here as well. Yeah, and what I did here as well, I created this volume automation for the sub bass, which is following here the rhythm of the kick, so they don't clash. All right, so I believe those are all the drop elements. Let me see if I added anything new in the second break. I don't think so. The only difference here is that I'm using the vocals also in the break part, whereas in the first break I'm only using the vocal in the build-up. What I added to the second build-up that I do not have in the first build-up is this LFO riser. I wanted to show you this real quick as well. It sounds like a very crazy trippy sound, and you can hear these sounds in a lot of like Hardwell or W&W big room tracks. It sounds quite difficult to make, but it's not at all. What you really just need is a saw wave, a super saw. So pick a saw here, turn the retrick off, add a little bit of detune, and then all you have to do is add some LFO modulation here. So what I did was I added a pitch AB down here, increase that a bit, increase the gain here, and then you just automate the rate effect. So if you keep the rate static, it will just keep pitching the sound up and down at a static pace, if that makes sense. So on top of that, you automate the rate as well. So the rate of how it changes the pitch will increase, so it starts to pick up in pace, and that's how you get this crazy sound. And then on top of that, what I also did was I or automated the overall pitch of the synth. So it's not just picking up and pace, but it's also pitching up as it's pitching up and down, if that makes sense. Yeah, super happy with how that track turned out. And I noticed there's 3-4 elements that I forgot to show you. It's the Cashmere shaker here. And another hi-hat loop. I think those claps are meant to be muted. And then this hey one shot here as well on the kick. So yeah, those are all the elements. I hope you guys enjoyed this little project walkthrough of Legacy, and I hope you guys enjoyed the track. Make sure to keep streaming the track. First link in the description. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.